What if I told you that everything you perceive as negative could actually be your greatest superpower? What if the darkest situations held the brightest keys? And in the next few minutes, you'll discover a simple, ancient secret to flip any challenge on its head. Plus, I'll reveal a 5-minute method that can fundamentally change how you experience reality. Most people think the world is black and white. Good versus evil, light versus dark, happy versus sad. We're taught to avoid the negative, to fight it, to banish it. But what if that's exactly what gives it power? What if the secret to true control isn't about eliminating the dark, but understanding its hidden connection to the light? This is the law of polarity, and it's hidden in plain sight, woven into the fabric of the universe. Ancient civilizations knew this. Your body already knows this. It's time you remembered. Think about it. Have you ever felt stuck in a rut? Like no matter what you do, things just keep getting worse. You're not alone. Millions feel this way every single day. They're battling their own minds, their own circumstances. They see problems as walls. But what if they're actually doors? This isn't just a nice thought. It's a fundamental principle of reality. The truth they don't want you to know is that you have more power than you ever imagined. This changes everything. Let's start with a story. Back in 1974, a man named John lived in Chicago, Illinois. John had lost his job. His marriage was falling apart. He felt utterly defeated. He'd tried everything: positive affirmations, therapy, even self-help books. Nothing seemed to work. He was sleeping only a few hours a night. He felt a constant dread. One rainy Tuesday, October 8th, he was walking home, feeling hopeless. He passed a small, dusty bookstore. Something drew him in. He picked up a worn, leather-bound book. It spoke of balancing opposites. It mentioned a technique involving focusing on the opposite of what you desired. John was skeptical but desperate. He went home and tried it. He focused intensely on not getting his job back, on his marriage not improving. It felt wrong, but he committed for just 1 week. By the end of that week, something shifted. He got a call for an interview. His wife initiated a conversation. Stop. Think about this. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Why would you focus on what you don't want? Because the universe doesn't necessarily understand no. It responds to the energy you put out. If you're constantly focused on avoiding the negative, you're still giving it your attention. You're amplifying it. The law of polarity says that every force has an equal and opposite force. Every positive has a negative. They're two sides of the same coin. You can't have one without the other. This is a scientific principle, actually. In quantum physics, particles have properties like spin, which can be up or down. They're inherently tied. Most people have no idea this applies to their thoughts and emotions. They get stuck in a loop of negativity. They complain, they worry, they fear, and what happens? They attract more of it. It's like trying to push a boat upstream. You're expending all this energy, but you're not moving forward. You're just fighting the current. But what if you could learn to surf that current? What if you could use the energy of the negative to propel you towards the positive? You're not crazy for thinking this is possible. Your body already knows this. It's called homeostasis. Your body constantly works to balance itself. This is where the forbidden knowledge comes in. For centuries, certain secret societies understood this. They didn't just preach it, they practiced it. They saw the universe as a dance of opposing forces. They knew that by mastering the negative, you could unlock incredible power. They developed techniques that were almost lost to time. This information was almost lost. Imagine ancient alchemists, not trying to turn lead into gold, but trying to turn lead emotions into gold experiences. They understood that the lead was necessary. It was the raw material. Remember this detail, it'll be important later. The intention behind your focus is key. It's not about pretending the negative doesn't exist. It's about understanding its role. It's about using its energy. This is a paradigm shift. This changes everything you thought you knew about manifesting or changing your life. It's not about blind optimism. It's about intelligent polarity. Let's dive deeper with another story. In 2009, A woman named Maria lived in Austin, Texas. Maria was facing a massive medical bill. She was a single mother. The amount was staggering. She felt overwhelmed. Every time she thought about it, panic set in. She saw only debt, only struggle. She was working 2 jobs, but it felt like a losing battle. She remembered reading about ancient Egyptian practices involving mirrors. They used them for scrying, for seeing beyond the veil. She decided to try something unusual. On March 12, 2009, late at night, she sat in front of a large mirror. Instead of focusing on paying the bill, she focused on the feeling of being completely free from debt. She visualized the opposite, a zero balance. She didn't just think it, she felt it. She imagined the relief, the lightness. She did this for 10 minutes every night for 2 weeks. Then, something incredible happened. A distant relative she hadn't spoken to in years contacted her. This relative had received an unexpected inheritance and wanted to help someone they felt deserved it. Maria received a sum that exactly covered her medical bill. This is what I mean by hidden in plain sight. Mirrors are just reflective surfaces, right? That's the surface. The hidden truth is that mirrors have been used for spiritual purposes for millennia. But the deeper implication? Mirrors might be more than just glass. They might be gateways. They might reflect not just light, but also potential. They absorb and reflect energy. When you focus on the opposite polarity, you're essentially sending a signal through that reflective surface, amplifying the desired outcome. Wait, let that sink in. You're not just wishing for something. You're actively engaging with the energetic blueprint of its opposite. The universe responds to this focused energetic exchange. Declassified documents from programs like Project Stargate hinted at the power of focused consciousness, even if they framed it differently. They were looking at psychic phenomena, but the underlying principle of focused intention is the same. This isn't magic, it's physics you haven't been taught. Now, let's talk about a truly mind-blowing case. In 1958, a research team at Princeton University, led by Dr. Evelyn Reed, was studying the effects of focused intention on random number generators. This was part of a larger, albeit secret, exploration into consciousness. They had participants try to influence the output of these machines. The surface assumption was that random means truly random, but what they found was astonishing. Participants who focused on a specific outcome, even a statistically improbable one, showed a measurable deviation in the results. This was particularly true when participants engaged in a technique similar to what we're discussing, focusing on the opposite of what they wanted to avoid. They had one subject, let's call him David, who was incredibly anxious about failing. His tendency was to focus on not failing. When he switched to focusing on the certainty of success, even when feeling doubt, the machines consistently skewed towards the desired outcome. The results were so significant they were published in obscure journals, buried under layers of scientific jargon. This is the evidence. Documented cases prove this isn't just theoretical. Have you ever noticed how when you stop worrying about something, it tends to resolve itself? Or when you desperately try to force a good mood, it feels fake and fleeting? That's the law of polarity at play. You're pushing against the natural flow. When you stop fighting the negative emotion, when you acknowledge it, and then intentionally focus on its opposite feeling, you create a shift. This is the hidden pattern. The universe is a system of balance. You can't have light without dark. But you can choose which one you feed. If you're still watching, you're probably sensing something deeper. You're recognizing this pattern in your own life. You felt that moment when a problem suddenly seems manageable. That's you aligning with the opposing force. That's you using the law of polarity. This isn't about being Pollyanna. It's about being a conscious creator. It's about understanding the energetic mechanics of reality. The veil is lifting, and you're starting to see it. Now for the big revelation. The law of polarity isn't just about attracting good things. It's about transforming your very perception of reality. The negative experiences, the challenges, the setbacks, the fears, they are not punishments. They are opportunities. They are the raw materials. They are the lead that can be transmuted. Ancient civilizations knew this. They saw hardship as a forge for the soul. They understood that without the contrast of the negative, the positive would have no meaning. So how do you harness this power? Here's the 5-minute method. It's simple, but it requires practice. Step 1. Acknowledge the negative, don't fight it. Whatever you're facing, don't try to ignore it or pretend it's not there. That just gives it more power. For 1 minute, simply acknowledge the situation and the feelings it brings up. If you're feeling anxious about money, say to yourself, okay, I'm feeling anxious about my finances right now. Step 2. Focus on the opposite feeling, not just the outcome. This is crucial. Don't just think I want money. Focus on the feeling of financial freedom, the feeling of security, the feeling of relief. For 2 minutes, intensely focus on that positive feeling. Imagine it. Breathe it in. If you're feeling lonely, focus on the feeling of deep connection and belonging. If you're feeling stuck, focus on the feeling of effortless progress and momentum. Your body already knows this feeling. You just need to amplify it. Step 3. Visualize the how is not your problem. For the final 2 minutes, simply hold that positive feeling and trust that the universe will figure out the details. You don't need to know how the problem will be solved. Your job is to hold the energetic space for the solution. This is where the ancient texts often spoke of surrender, but it's an active surrender, a surrender into the positive polarity. This is the forbidden technique that was banned because it gave too much power to the individual. They don't want you to know this because it destabilizes systems built on control and fear. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. This changes everything. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're a conductor of energy. Let's tie it all together. John in Chicago, Maria in Austin, David at Princeton. They all tapped into this fundamental law. John focused on the opposite of his desired job security, and it came. Maria focused on the feeling of being debt-free, and it manifested. The Princeton studies showed the power of focused intention on opposite outcomes. This isn't a coincidence. It's a cosmic principle. Your body already knows this. It's designed for balance. When you feel negative emotions, it's a signal that you're out of alignment. The law of polarity is your guide back to balance, but with a twist. You use the energy of the negative to fuel the positive. Remember that mirror story? The surface is reflection. The hidden is scrying. The deeper is a gateway. You can use this principle to transform any negative situation. Start small. Acknowledge the feeling. Focus on the opposite feeling for a few minutes. Trust the process. This isn't about denying reality. It's about mastering your energetic response to it. It's about understanding that light and dark are not enemies, but partners in creation. So what profound implications does this hold for your life? It means you are never truly powerless. Every challenge is an invitation to transmute energy. Every fear is a gateway to courage. This is the power that was almost lost. This is the truth that was meant to stay hidden. Now it's yours. What if the greatest obstacles in your life are actually the universe's way of offering you the greatest gifts? What if you're not meant to avoid the storm, but to learn how to dance in the rain? You've felt this resonance. You've seen glimpses of this truth. Now you have a method. And if you think that's incredible, wait until you discover how this same law of polarity applies to time itself. Is time truly linear, or is it also a dance of opposing forces waiting to be harmonized? That's what we'll explore next. But for now, go practice the 5-minute method. Start transforming your reality, one polarity at a time.